What is it?
What is it? It's in it.
What is it?
It's paying our current contract.
In fairness to everybody, why not review the proposal for the crowd so they know
Okay,
what has been bid?
all right, I'm gonna turn Steve back on so he can hear this.
But
Steve, can you turn off your Zoom now so we can continue the meeting?
I'll watch the rest of
All
them
right,
too.
so you're on.
Here, knock yourself.
Thanks, Marty.
All right,
I'll catch the next show.
all right, so K&N presented this,
Okay, here we go.
and the detail, this is the entire thing. There's no irrigation included, and they want to subcontract the weed pest control and fertilization to another company.
like we're doing now.
Correct. Yeah, so considering it is more than one of
Can you
these.
read it?
I can't read it to you. No, you can read it, it's here.
What's the cost?
The total
Almost
cost is
108.
$107,736 a year.
Not including irrigation.
And that includes what?
That includes mowing, edging, trimming, debris removal, weed eating, weed control, fertilization. Additional services are extra costs, and 40 trays of ornamentals. And that's all the details.
I have a quick question, why didn't they come and do a
It
presentation?
includes troops.
I don't know, you have to ask them why they didn't come. We offered it.
Because are they just phoning it in? I mean, that's something to consider. I mean, do they want the project, do they want the contract?
They're doing the work.
They didn't want to. Oh, they're doing the work now, okay,
They're
they
doing
did
the
the
work
work.
contract.
Okay, so they're paying it for the current ones, that means no.
They're the current ones working,
Okay, good.
they received the same RFP and the same opportunities, and this is what they
They're,
gave.
so their work.
They're subbing the fertilization out to True Green,
Yes.
and irrigation is down to earth, which is a separate cost running approximately $1,000 extra a month.
Oh,
So you're talking 12 grand over the top of 107,
oh.
which is, that's your total fee.
Yeah, it kind of throws it right out the
So
window.
that's the current vendor that we're using now.
But,
So,
I already got what you're saying.
Yes,
Can you please ask Emily to post all of the proposals on the,
there will be posted.
thank you.
Okay. All right, so Steve, can you hear us?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I can hear it, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're moving on. Before we get into all the rest of this, I started to say, going forward, agenda items at board meetings are open for questions and comments from owners. So what we're gonna do in the future is have a sign-in sheet so we know who's here. It's gonna be limited to 3 minutes. We're gonna time it. We'll start that next meeting tonight. We're gonna open it to comments and questions as we move through this meeting. So it has to be for the agenda item we're talking about, and please feel free. So Emily's gonna tell us what the agenda item is, and we will continue.
Okay, so you just did the landscape presentations.
Okay, so, all right, so we're still in the RFP. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna propose that we accept the Duval proposal as a motion. So I'm making the motion to accept that proposal.
how much?
Hang on,
Oh,
do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, now we're open for discussion. Any questions?
We're open for discussion. Bernice, do you have a question?
Well, my only concern is have we actually verified the references?
Yes.
Look at the property?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I
You
spoke
look at
to,
all the properties, okay, that's all
I
I
did.
care about.
In fact, they had,
Proposal together.
there was one, it wasn't really a negative, but there were some comments about Yellowstone as far as following up with communication. The other company, everyone I talked to had rave reviews of them.
But
They said-
have we physically looked at the properties to be satisfied as homeowners?
No, I did not.
Board members?
No.
so So we have not looked at their work.
No, I talked to the
But you
manager.
can mention that they do Deerwood, they do, mention the properties they do.
I thought that was
That was
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
The only reason I'm asking is on one of those properties, I think I physically have driven by it.
Yeah, the one, I did speak to Brian Stevens, who's the Beacon Lake, and he gave me, they actually work with both companies. And that was the one who, I think Blake mentioned, was on HGTV for their award-winning work. So he gave them both good reviews. He said Yellowstone, because they have a tree division, that it's a one-stop shop, so that would set them apart. But as far as the maintenance and all the rest of it, they're both on par. He likes them both. He's dealt with Duval for 4 years and with Yellowstone for 10 years. So that was a good review.
So they're at Marabella in St. Augustine. I've actually seen that community.
Who is?
It's an HOA, Duval. It's beautiful. And then Flagler Center, it's Flagler Center Owners Association, as well as Cascades. These two, one's in Jacksonville, and the other one is in St. Augustine. Verona Walk, that's in Maples.
They used to work next door. I'm not sure if they still do, but I know that they did the landings next door.
Yeah. Who did?
Duval.
Okay.
Duval.
Yes, sir.
And just tell me the price on Duval's standard contract.
Okay, so.
Is that 104?
Yes.
And the price on, K&N?
It was 107.
And then it's 108, but it's not included. Right, plus the 12 inch irrigation.
Now, the other thing was, looking at both of these proposals and reviewing them, and actually looking at their sample contracts, Duval is much more detail oriented.
Yes.
That schedule of the year is very detailed. It's detailed down to the hours that they expect it to be for each different section. It tells you how many times per month, and what they're gonna do every month. So their contract too, which I told you before, we're gonna have reviewed by our attorney, once we figure out what we want to put in it, then I think that sets them apart. That's
Right,
cool.
well, the Sure Guard is exciting for me, I know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
What was-
but-
The one price was 107 for
Yes.
Duval, and what was Yellowstone?
No. Duval's 104,
104, and what was Yellowstone?
107, and Canaan is 107.
Okay, but Canaan is 107
I don't
plus
care about
irrigation.
Yellowstone is 108.
108, sorry.
Yeah, but just clarify, I mean, just, you know, we're saying the numbers, we gotta add irrigation on top of it.
Oh, I understand about that.
Okay.
I
Okay,
Yes.
I get it.
discount.
Okay.
But the other two were within $1,000?
No.
No, 104 and 107.
104.
One-
108 and
Oh, it was
$104.
$4,000 difference.
Yes.
If I understand what you just said, all these companies have given a proposal, but we haven't written what we want.
No, we're
So
deciding,
therefore, the prices that they have just given us are based on what they say they'll do, not what we say we want.
no, we are going to stick with the price in the proposal. They received an RFP, I don't know if you saw it,
Very detailed.
very detailed RFP, including all the details for every section of this proposal.
Where's the RFP posted?
I don't know if it's posted, is it?
I don't think we
I
have
don't think
to
it's
post it.
It's not, you
So
can see,
none of us are aware of the scope of work.
you can look at mine if you want.
Yeah.
Post it, just post it.
Here's the thing, I know Devin said when he saw this RFP, which is the one Bic wrote, he said he's never seen anything like it. He says, I am so
I didn't-
happy.
I didn't
Well,
write it.
no, but you put it together.
I put it together.
I'm just saying, give the guy some credit, you know, that, you know, he was very pleased because he says, I don't have to guess as to what you people want.
But we also have been talking about this for quite a few months, so if anybody wanted a copy of the RFP, they could have had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what it says?
Well, you got, we
Hang on,
mentioned
Steve
it
has
at the
something.
meeting, so if you were at the meeting, you could
Go
just.
ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I agree with your points on Duval. I like it too. The only thing, I gotta be honest with you, that really turned me off is that I hate salesmen. And, you know, I think we have to watch
Hate sales.
the potential of
Okay, so when we talked to them, when we interviewed both those companies, we talked about the included landscape design. Both companies include that. And we talked about our landscape committee doing the work after they proposed this landscape design. And they had no problem with either of them. So it's kind of like, they're gonna give us guidance, we can say, we're gonna do it, or we can say, you can do it, give us a price, but we'll take that as it goes. We don't have to change anything.
Right.
We want to get it back in.
What I'd like too is that, they can help us put together that grant application
Yeah.
to the city of Jacksonville.
Yeah,
The grant application needs to be done by September, if I recall correctly. And, so that's all good. And there might be some big things that they have that would enhance our community,
yeah,
that could be good for us.
it is. I looked at that grant and the schedule is, it comes out in September and then you have until I think the end of November to apply. And then the final grant is actually given by February. And then you're supposed to, I have the details on it.
Okay, yeah, you can do that every year, which is nice.
Yeah, once a year. Chris?
How long of a contract are you talking about? How many years?
Termination?
The proposals both had the automatic extensions, and we're not gonna do that. We are going to do a one-year contract with 2 options for 1-year additions. So a 1 year, we renegotiate. If we want to, they have the option, we have the option another year. If they have the option, we have the option another year. So they'll have the capability to extend it for 3 years. But we're not agreeing to the 5% increase or a 3% increase. We're gonna negotiate that prior to the expiration. That's the way.
So we could be
But
changing.
we're gonna run that through the attorney to
Right.
make sure that he's okay with it.
So at the end of the year, we could be changing the landscape plan.
Yes.
No.
Hopefully not.
No.
What's the?
No, we're just not building in a raise. We're not building in like a tenure of 3 years, and we're not building in a raise. They're gonna earn the raise, so.
Yeah, so at the
That's
end
what
of
we're
the year.
doing. That's,
Yeah,
it, you
at
know,
the end of
build
the year,
this
then we'll
automatic
continue. And it'll
And
be
if-
60,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
it'll be 60 days prior to the end of the contract.
Right.
That has to be negotiated. So we're not gonna be in a hurry to find something else.
Right.
Yes.
Have we considered, adding any kind of performance indicators into a contract whereby we would, if they fail to meet our performance, requirements, that we would actually get money back from them?
No, but that's a good suggestion.
To do that, you gotta go both ways.
Early termination, if they don't perform, are we able to terminate the
30
contract
days,
without
yeah,
penalty?
there's a 30-day notice, that's gonna be included.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, you gotta give them a reward for doing a better job than what's expected. So if you're gonna take away something, you gotta give some.
Well, respectfully, you don't have to, it's what you agree to in the contract, but,
Well, if they're wise, they wouldn't sign anything like
they
that.
might not, but people do.
Big one, they start.
They will start August 1st, September, or July 30th is when K&N's contract expires.
And then really did a good job this time.
Yes.
Okay, all the adjustments. People on the Zoom have asked you to reiterate the prices that the people have given and whether or not those prices from Yellowstone and Duval include the irrigation, and also to reiterate that the price from K&N does not include irrigation. Could you please reiterate those prices and whether or not they include irrigation?
Irrigation repair.
All right,
Oh,
so everybody's clear.
Okay.
The irrigation included in this is to assess the system, to map it, so they know what they have to deal with, and to inspect it once a month. That's what's included. So they will come here once a month and run through the system and make sure. Right now, we're using down to earth with no contract. They come once a month and they fix whatever's broken. We have been averaging
But we pay
$1,000.
for that.
We have been averaging $1,000 a month in repairs. So that's $12,000 a year, which is what K&N's contract for $107,000 does not include any of that. So.
So
that's
Yellowstone and Duval both include
They both include irrigation inspections once a month.
Inspections for the repairs.
And what are the hourly costs?
Correct. Irrigation
Yeah.
is additional.
It's nice to hear they're gonna come and check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the hourly repair
Right.
rate is based at $55 an hour.
Which is more than what we pay now, correct?
I don't know what we pay. I have no
Well,
idea.
we should
But
know.
it's $55 an hour.
I just became president a week ago.
But you've been on the board for 6 months, so.
And I haven't, we had a treasurer who was taking care of it. What? How much are we paying out?
Well, it's, $50 an hour down there.
$50 an hour.
So that's great there.
Plus parts and.
Yellowstone is 55, I didn't catch what Duval their hourly rate is.
Is it in the contract? Who has, I mean, the proposal, who has that piece of paper? Here it is.
All right, so we have a second. All right, Steve, we're gonna vote. All in favor? Aye. We're voting on the Duval proposal, the motion to accept their proposal and work with them.
All in favor? say
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Unanimous.
Okay, so, meeting minutes for May 19th, 2021, and the special meeting for June 7th, 2021.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Oh,
Aye.
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 Okay.
Okay, new committees?
Okay, the next, what we wanna do, we really appreciate input, that's why we're opening this up for discussion and questions. We also want as much help as we can get. So we're looking into starting some committees. And the thoughts are an advisory committee, people who have been on board, people who have experience running communities that we could gain information from, especially the history of what's happened in the past, that will help us move forward, so we're not repeating mistakes and we're not duplicating services that we've already taken care of. We want to talk about budget committees. We would like people to give us input if you have financial backgrounds, if you have any experience with budgets, running a corporation like we have here, we would like to hear from you. And a contract committee, where any contract that we're gonna deal with a company for a year, we wanna know what stipulations need to be in the contract to protect us. Because in the past, we've taken proposals and signed them like they were a contract, with no review and no protection. So that's going to change. It'll be, if you're interested, we'll send out a mass email explaining in more detail what we're looking for. If anyone has a suggestion for another committee, what was the committee? To have social events, a social committee, maybe we should get that going again. So we're open to ideas. We want to try to get as much input as we can from the people who live here. So we're not going to decide on any of that tonight. We just wanted to mention it to everyone.
Okay, treasurer's report?
I am
Who
acting.
is our treasurer now?
We haven't. We need to figure that out. So we're going to talk about it. The cash management report. I think we're gonna try to do a little bit more detail in the treasurer's reports. I know a lot of people want that. So, the cash in the money market is $145,649. We have the operating US bank account has $91,805. The reserves, Capital One Bank is $89,068. The reserves in the Ozark Bank is $114,690. And the cash reserves in the Union Bank are $243,586. So we had an increase of $119,500. So we went from $684,799 to $733,663. That's the report I have so far. Any questions?
Are the roofs paid on, as far as the batten and the gutters and so forth? Did we
Oh,
pay-
we're gonna have that, we're gonna update the gutters.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so for my manager's report, the May financials were not available yet. But I can report on what the delinquencies were for May 31st. The current was $875,000, over 30 days was $5,222, over 60 days was $2,049, over 90 days was $20,036. That's a total of $28,182. That's an increase of $3,700 from previously reported.
Did you say 875,000?
She did, yeah.
$28,170.
The first number you gave?
$875.
Okay. You said.
Wow, sorry guys.
That 90 days, they should, that 90 days should be below 20,000 by now. It's been 20,000, I thought it dropped below 20,000 last month. Well, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
I think there's one bad one.
Yeah,
It doesn't seem to be
we're gonna
going
look at
anywhere.
it, as soon as we decide who the treasurer is going to be.
Right.
We'll be taking a closer look at this.
At the attorney, there's $21,309, that's the decrease of $511 from previous reporting month. So I wanted to talk about, William pressure wash the curbs from buildings 9, on both sides of 7, 6 and 7 and the center, and also the rest of this road going towards 6 and 23. He's gonna finish painting signs and, we'll order we're ordering new dog station signs, also.
I think we should look into cleaning them first.
He's cleaning them, yes, and then if we need to, because if it's not legible, then. Also just a thought of installing some building signs, like, kind of like a directory, where it says buildings 1 through 3, or 4 going this way, because like 10 and 11 are really hard to see for a lot of people, just to help with visitors,
Yeah,
any,
it's definitely hard to tell where you're going.
deliveries, stuff like that, just to put
All right.
on the corner.
Well, let's put that on next month's agenda, and then we can discuss it. We'll come up with a couple ideas, and we can have some input from you guys.
Okay, so I also reached out to Dan Washington, he's an attorney, to provide us with, his information on his firm, as well as Ed Runsman. I did receive the introduction letter, the representation agreement, as well as the collections and foreclosures flow chart from Dan. I have not heard back from Ed Runsman, but I did reach out to, other cams and also Megan for additional attorneys. Who's first speaking?
Okay.
Dan Wasserstein.
All right.
So once I have that, I'll know how to.
And
All
this
right,
would
we'll
be,
try to find out why
this would be
Robinson
to
hasn't
replace
Correct, if the
There's
board
lots.
wishes to, if the board wishes to
Yes,
replace.
Julie?
Larson.
History, I can tell you why Ronson has not returned the call.
I remember that.
Ronson will not be returning the call, most likely.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
For real.
Tell us why.
No.
It's a lengthy story, I'll
All right, I'll find it.
Also, the open trailers that were in the back, they were open with all of the
Yeah.
junk.
stuff on them. The resident has been spoken to and requested and informed that they cannot have 4 trailers, requested that they remove the trailers and all of the materials on them. So he's working on.
He's working on it, I spoke to him, and he is going to be able to have 1 trailer only. So within the next week or so,
With the junk on it?
No.
Wait a minute,
Huh?
he gets junk piled on it too?
No,
No,
Oh, she
he
said
can
junk.
store his trailer there,
you can throw the trailer,
but he's not gonna have junk on it, and he can only have one.
okay, so.
And he's agreed to that, he's fine with it.
So I think we're gonna move to, right?
Yeah, there's two of them
And
working
no more
on it.
freon removal and oxygen being stored in garages and any of that kind of nonsense either, so.
Chris,
Can we pressure wash the tennis court?
please, we want to
Please, sorry,
No.
the magic word.
remove the leaves
Because
that have
when
been there
it's,
for 2
it
years.
is slippery, it's got some scum on it.
We'll have to look into that surface and how safe it is to pressure wash, or if there's another way to clean it, but we will work on that, yes. Put that down.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, Emma?
Yes,
got it.
oh no, the units to attorney, so.
Oh,
I
sorry.
spoke with one of them, so it's, you have the, has the pink on it. The very first, the top one, I spoke with that owner, and there's been some health issues, family issues, which I thought, remember I told you, I was like, it's not like this person's not okay.
Yeah.
So, they're gonna call me in the next couple days, probably Monday, and then we're gonna work out, the
Okay.
payment plan.
Okay, good.
This isn't the one from here, the Arizona deal, is it? No, okay.
And then the second one made a payment on the 14th.
Oh, yeah, okay, good.
And then the third one, not quite at 90 days, but does have a large, a significant hole.
And
Right.
these are just dues, right? It's not fines or anything, okay.
Well, they're over 60 days, aren't
Yes.
they? They're not to 90 yet?
Correct.
All right, have you been able to contact them?
No.
No. Well, I guess if they hit 90 days, we'll send it to the attorney. All right.
Okay, so then the next one is the chimney at 1510. The entire
Okay.
framing of it.
Right, I talked with Allweather, I talked with 3 people at Allweather about this. So, there's a couple things. As far as I know, the chimney repair should be included in the reserves. But we're gonna look into that, because that's part of the roof structure, and the roofs are covered with reserves. But, in the past, I don't know how long ago, we'll find out. Instead of putting stucco back up there that costs a lot of money, they can use Hardy board, which is a cement product with a 50-year warranty. It comes with a finish that simulates stucco. And when it's painted from the ground, you're not gonna be able to tell that it's not stucco. It's a lot lighter, it's a lot cheaper, and I asked Allweather to do a proposal or a change order to use that material. They did, and it's about $600 less.
Jill said that.
Now, I also talked to him about how that had been done in the past, and they had seen where other companies had done that in the past, and they did not seal the corners. So they told me they didn't do it because it wasn't aesthetically the same if they put trim boards on the corner of the 4 corners of the chimney. So we were going to decide if we're gonna move ahead with repairing the chimneys, and most of them still need repair, we're gonna use Hardy board, and we're gonna use trim pieces. And if it looks that much different, it's not that expensive to put just an aesthetically glued on trim piece to match on the stucco that are already there and intact. They're also gonna work on the top cap, which has, because the stucco was never stuccoed up all the way, I spoke to the roofer about this. He said there's actual places that they've seen as they put the roofs on where water can get in under the cap, over the stucco, and create rot inside the chimneys. So Allweather is prepared to do a trim piece up above that fits into the cap. He said if the caps need to be replaced, they'll be replaced, but he said they don't need to be replaced if they're still intact. There's also a piece, if the flue right now is coming through that chimney cap and it's a single pipe, and all they did was caulk around it, 2 to 3 years, that caulk breaks, cracks, and we get water leaking in our chimneys. They have a piece that fits over the flue, that has a flange that gets glued to the cap, and it seals it permanently. Not that much more expensive. And so I asked him to include that. So I think we're going to approve that. All right.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
I apologize, Emily, but this refers back to the manager's report. We went ahead with the old business before I had a chance to. Okay? At the last board meeting, an email was mentioned about, expenses coming down the pike. I believe you brought it up, Debbie, and it referred to an email from David Wallenstein, the former president, saying there's more, the concern was about what we were overpaying for landscaping, if I remember correctly, and there's, heavier expenses coming down the pike. Neither of you know what that referred to?
So we looked into it. There is no project that was started by another board member. The only thing that we can think of is that we had a survey, is that what it's called?
Well, it hasn't been performed yet, so.
Engineering. We had an engineering report that was done in 2007. I have the copy. I found it. We have it. It was done by Woods Engineering, and it described, which had to do with the lawsuit back then, all of the problems in the buildings. Now, what we're going to try to do is research. Emily had contacted Woods and 2 more engineering firms to give us an estimate to do another one.
Okay, so there's been water intrusion and structural damage that you're aware of in Building 5, Building 13, Building 18, Building 21, dealing with windows, not just the glass block windows, but other windows. That's why the engineer's been called in.
Correct.
To give, has the engineer been on the property?
No, they haven't.
We
They
haven't
haven't been on the
Not
property
yet.
yet?
No.
Okay,
Because
so that could be very well the large number that we might be
I don't
talking
think it'll
about.
cost millions of dollars to
Well, we
remodel
don't know.
windows.
Well, excuse me.
We don't know.
Caulking windows is not gonna solve the problem
Right.
if there is structural damage
Right.
inside the walls. So the engineering report is going to give us that information.
Correct.
And as I said, there's been a lot of structural damage already. Caulking that isn't gonna help.
Right.
So in the manager's reports for March, April, and May, it mentions
Yes.
about the engineering. So I think that's important that the community know this may be a significant cost that everybody on the board should be
know
aware
what
of.
it is yet. So we will absolutely be telling everyone what we find.
Just wanted to clear up that it wasn't,
Yeah.
it was known by everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Regarding,
Oh, no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
have we addressed the homeowners and doing their own particular landscaping?
No,
So
no,
not yet.
not yet, Chris, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, though.
It's coming up.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, for 15 minutes. Yeah.
Is that-
Motion.
Oh, right. I make a motion that we approve the 1510 chimney updated work order.
I'll second.
Steve seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
And then, 2802 landing?
Okay, the other one is the landing, and I spoke to Allweather about that. Which one is it? What building is that? Here it is. Yeah, 28. So the problem with that landing, and it's in the engineer's report from 2007, these landings, we have problems with them and we know it. We've been dealing with it as they come up. The concrete cracked on the landing, water leaked in and got directly into the plywood and rotted the plywood. And it all has to be torn off and repaired. But what they do, when they put the new plywood on, is they use a rubber membrane that seals all the way around, and then they pour the concrete on. And in the future, if concrete cracks, the water membrane is gonna keep the water from getting to the plywood. So it should eliminate that problem. Yes, Julie.
Are we receiving multiple bids on these jobs? Because I know they can run $5, $6, $8, $15,000.
We have not, I don't know why we haven't, we will be from now on.
We should be.
Yes, I agree.
Definitely.
Dick, I have a question.
Yes.
What are you calling a landing?
The landing is at the top of the stairs between the two doorways. That's the landing.
Okay. But
Some of them
on
have
a unit
single
O2, is there,
What's that?
in the O2 ones, isn't that a single doorway?
It's a one
Still a
and
landing, still a little landing.
Right.
On here.
Okay.
Yeah, O2 would be outside at the top of the stairs,
Yeah.
right outside the door.
It was listed as O1 and O2, so the bungalow on that building apparently is on the other end.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
This is since it changed, what you're saying.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Did we go? Oh. I'm trying to keep up. All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the all-weather, is there a contract, or is this, it's their proposal to do repairs on 20A1, 20A2.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
Hold on a
it says,
second.
why does it say a change order?
Yeah, that's, yeah, I saw that, that was right.
So this is a change order?
Yes, so they've been working on the landing, I know that. And they told me they needed to take off, pretty much get rid of the whole landing to do this.
So when did we approve this?
So it hasn't,
No, the first
the
part.
first part of it, May?
All right, so
Yeah,
the board
so it's an
approved the
addition.
first, all right.
Yeah.
So then this is a change
additional
order.
work for our saying,
All right,
yeah. Any second?
Steve seconded, all in favor? Aye. All right, and we will be doing bids from now on, we're gonna get all the details, try to tighten up these costs.
Yes.
All right,
Okay, sorry. So the next are, tree work proposals for.
wait, gutter upgrade.
Okay, just kidding, the gutter update, we are wanting to schedule him to clean the gutters
When are we gonna finish the gutters?
at the third phase.
No,
Is-
the gutter, I still don't have water diverters. My gutters just flush out to the,
Well, then I can get one of some gutters down there, and we're gonna have him clean the gutters on Monday, as well as, make any adjustments that have been brought to my attention. He was here last week and worked on 19, 21, and there's one sheet of building 9 also that.
All right, so how many in phase 2 have not been completed?
They've all,
So they're all completed, everything is done.
all the refurbs and everything.
So, this is my comment about this. I'm not really happy with how there's no conformity to this. We have some gutters with downspouts that come down and are cut off right at the building. We have some buildings that have extensions with rubber or pipe sticking out. We have some that were connected to the existing underground drainage into the ponds, and some that they were just there and they didn't connect it, and it's sitting there. We also paid extra for all those cement diverters that went underneath. That wasn't included in the contract, and we paid, at the last count, what, $1,500 for those things? Before we continue with the third phase, all of that's gonna get straightened out. We're gonna have him come in and sit down, because I'm not real happy with the results we've got. Comments, please.
Yeah, I'd like to know when they're gonna finish, because
Well-
they haven't finished with the gutters, and they haven't patched up all the stuccos that are being exposed to
They-
moisture and water, which is going to affect the structure of our building.
I told you
We
guys
gutters, that also stops in a heavy rain, that stops the water from going into the gutters.
Yeah, but it
So then
depends
it
on.
pours over top, so, no, it's,
Alright, so before the next phase starts, we will be talking to Buster.
But, I mean, regarding Bernice's situation, when is he gonna,
Yeah.
when are we gonna?
Yeah, what's
That should be done right after
Yeah,
they
right.
get on the ground.
But ours, I mean, I'm
No.
supposed to be here for 14, we
Alright,
could sit
so
here for 6 months.
He's coming to do the cleanup. We have paid them $75 per building to go up there and blow the debris off. And they still have, what, 10 buildings to go or something? The last time they did that, they blew all the debris right on top of the shrubs and left it there. That's not gonna happen again. We're going, yes,
No. Yeah.
yes, they did. So they're gonna be informed that they need to keep blowing it until it gets out in the street, or on the grass at least, and not leave anything sitting on top of our shrubs. So,
Now, are they responsible for patching the stucco?
Yes. Where they took out the old gutters, where
But we can't be sitting for 6 months.
Yeah.
We are though.
Yeah.
Bernice told me, what, last board meeting?
Okay, what I'm saying is
I
our
know, I
building.
told you a couple months ago, cause I
Yeah.
was asking when they finished.
Ours
when
was
they
done in
come back.
Here's the
January.
thing, we shouldn't have to tell anybody about it, right? I mean,
Well-
the guy should be coming back to do it.
He does, that's what I'm saying, that's why.
But he's 6 months behind.
Yeah.
It was a surprise to me.
so the buildings were painted in 2017, right? And it's a 10-year
16.
guarantee on that.
16.
2016.
Yeah.
So we still have a number of years before we need to repaint these buildings. So I think we need to get an estimate from painters, maybe the painter who did it, to really seal those holes properly and paint over that stripe.
Motion for that.
Yes, and make it look the same.
So we're gonna put that It's not wrong. He's supposed All right.
Bernice, are our holes sealed over there?
No, they are not, and I have
All right, so
a lot of the other
we'll
buildings.
have to seal them, but when it gets painted, they'll do it properly and paint it.
But I like the motion that they get this taken care of now.
Right.
And I'll ask them to have
We'll
it.
have him come and do it on Monday. He's gonna be here Monday. All right, so what else?
Just to work around the
Okay, so tree proposals.
All right. I'm gonna move that we table the tree contracts. We have 3 estimates for tree trimming before the storm season. 2 are for over $40,000. Four Seasons is at $25,000, but there's absolutely no detail, and there's nothing about the dead trees being removed except he's going to do free of charge a couple of dead birches that need to be removed. This is not detailed enough. Yes,
I gave you the updated one.
from Four Seasons.
Correct.
Where's the, do I have the one?
Yeah, you have it.
Do you want the one?
No, I got it. You
Okay.
gave it to me right before.
So this is just, okay, these proposals here are applicable to just going around and randomly trimming trees. Is that-
No, it's
oh.
the entire property and raising the canopy,
Okay.
and also any that are touching.
Are they
That's what I mean,
arborists?
yeah.
Are they arborists?
Yes.
What's that?
Are they arborists? So it's doing on all of the
Yes.
property maintenance
Yeah,
deal.
they're arborists.
Okay.
Any that
They've done
are
work here
taking
before,
over the building.
so he did add the detail. He added buildings 5, 12, 16, little trees by the garage, 18, 24, behind building 24, remove stumps by the maintenance shed, and he's gonna remove a magnolia behind building 2 and a pine tree behind building 23. So he did give us the detail. It went up to 27,500. Yes.
I was just gonna say, past experience of working with Four Seasons, he's a good old boy, he doesn't do a lot of detail, but he comes out and works hard, so,
Okay.
you know, for what that's
All
worth.
right, well, he did, he gave us details.
So he did.
Yes,
It
Jerry.
is
Someone
because
has-
he works with us all the time.
What?
Someone on Zoom is asking if you're going to table that tree work, when are you tabling it to?
No, we're not going to.
Oh, you're gonna make a decision?
Yeah. You wanna make a motion?
Are we budgeted? I mean, are we, is this?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's
Okay,
fine.
It's gotta be
because
done
I just asked Emily,
before
we didn't have anything done last year.
Correct.
So, yeah, I'll make a motion for 4 seasons, it sounds like it's a significant price difference.
It's amazing.
$43.42 and he's $27.5 because of the other loyal customer.
And also, when I was walking, when I drove Jack's tree removal, he just kept hemming and hawing the whole time. Well, it's gonna take us 2 weeks, so
All right.
it's gonna take us 2 weeks.
Yeah, we don't need a him and haul.
Any other questions?
Does that four-season proposal include hauling everything away?
Yes.
Yes.
They all away.
And I drove around with David again this morning to say, okay, we're having a meeting today. And I'm showing him all the dead trees. I showed him that big pine tree, the one that's over there, that you can see from here, the river birches in front of the building, there's a magnolia that's literally touching the building, like, and I was like, okay.
Do you think, and this is kind of a long shot, but do you think there's any way, since we're such a good customer, we can get him to kind of throw in a few palm tree trimmings?
Oh, yes, palm tree trimming, yes.
Okay, so
That's in here too.
Oh, that's in here, okay, sorry, I didn't even read all that. I was just kind of wondering about like these.
Correct, because,
Okay.
and I said, and palm trees.
Now, wait a minute, now, does he know, show me where this is, first of all, let me find it, because I don't see it on here. There's nothing on here about,
Did he say he would do this?
Yeah, I said we have 16 palm trees.
How many?
16.
16 palm trees?
I don't see it on here.
All right, he needs to add that.
Yeah, let's not approve this, or do you
No,
approve
we
it and
can
ratify
do
it?
a conditional approval that he add that to the description and we'll approve it.
But he's gonna do it for this price,
same
right?
price.
He's not gonna,
So I'm assuming we have money in budget.
well, I just asked the same question, Steve.
Yes.
If I had the financial report, I'd tell you.
Cause this is a pretty big pot here.
Correct, but we haven't, we've only used, $5,000, I think, from.
What's the budget figure?
What is it, 55,000?
55,000?
Now, is this the same line that the mulch comes out of, or we're not worried about that for next year though, okay?
Yeah.
So, are you absolutely certain, that this price right here includes these 15 palm trees?
He just said yes.
Oh, you just texted him? Oh, okay.
All right.
Quick
But
question.
I'll have to update
That has to be in the contract.
Yes.
We're gonna get it ratified.
Yes. Yes, are you gonna have a contract that indicates the exact trees that are gonna be cut down, like not just a couple of?
Yeah, they are. That's what I was just reading.
But I also wanna include the start when he's gonna start and finish.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I have a question for you. When you go and solicitate for quotes and proposals, are you providing an RFP that details all of the scope of work, what we are asking for them to do? So when you get proposals, because you guys are kind of talking like, oh, this is high and this is low, and you don't know what each of those proposals are including. When you do an RFP, when you issue out an RFP and you give, they're supposed to provide you the proposal based on the scope of work we're asking them to do. That means how many palm trees, that means how many azaleas, whatever we need to cut back. It needs to be crystal clear, because somebody could be given a price of $43,000 with what he thinks, what she thinks needs to be done on this property.
I understand, no, I did not give
And that's
him
something
any paper,
we
but I
have.
literally drove the property with.
Well, but you are very, very clear to them
Bernice,
what
contract.
we want done.
Photos should be taken of each and every tree that needs to be attended to and given to them.
So I literally drove and I took notes with Vic, and then I said, these are the amount of trees, they're river birches and
Yeah, we
oak
drove.
trees, and that's what I told them. These are the trees, these are mine of river birches, and this is a big tall pine tree. You know, so it wasn't that, I just said, I was vague. I literally drove the property and pointed it out.
Bernice,
And I
be
told
on
him
the
that I
contract
would
meeting.
Yes.
send an email.
Bernice, you could be the contract committee.
All right,
Yeah,
so
Clearly identify the scope.
Oh, I hear you, I hear you.
because it's
Before we go
it's
and
almost,
pick one, we need to make sure.
it's gonna get dangerous if storms start developing. We are in the season now, so we can't really wait too long.
I agree.
So the motion is on the table.
You have a question?
Yes.
It's very nice to hear about what you hope to have done here. I'd like to know when the board board is going to deal with the entire area that borders on the landings, which is
Yeah.
just a disgusting mess.
So, I think-
Filled with dead and dying pine trees, etc. And also,
Yeah.
What area are you talking about?
Hang on,
Behind
hey,
25 and 21.
the buffer
Jane.
between the landings and off property. In addition to that.
We're in discussion. Steve.
Well, let's finish what's on here first, Jane, sorry.
Hang on, we're in discussion. So the landscape committee at this point, we're trying to work our way around the entire property and at least cut the vines at the base. We're gonna try to finish that over the summer, and when the heat is reduced and it's cooler, then we're gonna start clearing it. But that at least will stop those vines from growing and continuing the murder of our trees.
And if you'd like to volunteer to operate
Michael,
some trees.
Michael is in charge of that with the landscape committee, so if you wanna come and cut some vines, we're gonna try to get all the big vines off those trees as quickly as we can. And I talked with both of these companies when we did the drive-throughs, and they told me that when you cut those vines, it'll take about a month and they'll get dry and they'll crack and the leaves will fall off. And he said then they're a whole lot easier to pull off. So that's what our plan is right now. All right, do you wanna vote on this?
Yes, but I mean, do we not worry about the fact that it's not in here? We just vote that.
We make the stipulation that it needs to stay, on.
16 pounds.
There's not gonna be any
Okay.
All right. All right, so the proposal is, the motion is to accept 4 seasons. It was seconded by anyone?
I'll second it with the stipulation that we have, which is all the pool ones and all the pool ones.
All right, Steve, did you do that? The stipulation is that the palm trees get added to this before we review it, but if you add them for the same price, we're gonna do it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Unanimous with a stipulation on 16 palms
Okay. Next is.
added to the contract for the same price.
Rules and regulations. Big can. So, as far as rules and regulations, it's a whole process that we have to go through to be able to do that. So, what I think we should do is within the next month or so, everybody who has problems with the rules and regulations, planting in areas has to be addressed. I don't know yet how we're gonna do that. We have the parking situation in the RV park. A while back, somebody wanted to number the spaces and limit them, and nothing in the rules and regulations addresses that yet. There's probably other rules and regulations that we need to look at, but I think if we're gonna do that, we should talk about each one individually, get some input, see what the best way to go is, and then we're gonna do it all at once. So, yes.
Do you have any thoughts about maybe having a suggestion box available so that people can do that?
Sure, we can do that.
Committee?
I wonder if we could put it at the mailbox.
We could put it.
Usually.
Why don't you have a rules and regulations committee?
Well, that's what we were just saying, I think that's a really good idea.
All right. Well, then that's better. We'll do a rules and regulations committee. We can set up an email for specifically the rules and regulations at hotmail.com or something like that. So people can email to it with any suggestions that they have. All right.
Yeah.
You want, well, we need volunteers to be on that committee. So, do we have volunteers? All right. Good. Steve, you wanna make a motion? favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This was a vote
Okay, so we
to
have the
unanimously
Regulations Committee.
approve a Rules
Give
and
them
Regulation
your
Committee.
name, phone number,
I got it, I
email,
got it.
whoever wants to email it,
Don't we have to fill out a form?
before you leave.
A volunteer? Yeah, I'll send you all. Okay.
And then we'll send out emails about what we'll be doing. All right.
We wanna set up the other.
Do you want to set up any other committees yet, Steve?
No, I think you've got a list of them already.
Yeah.
Let's start with that and see where we go.
Yeah.
Send out an email, let everybody know, let's see what kind of
Yeah.
volunteers we get.
Okay. I agree.
Sounds good.
All right, last thing is the Comcast incentive program. I'm gonna make a motion that we table that till next meeting. I tried to get in touch, we have information on this. It's a marketing agreement that we give Comcast exclusive marketing rights to our community. We did it in 2010, and it gave us some good money, but I wanna have some answers as to what we're giving up. What are we giving them in exchange? Julie?
Is that going to limit the ability of residents to choose their service provider?
No, it doesn't do that, but it's substantial amount of money. It's over $30,000.
It essentially is just that no one else can advertise here, so like AT&T can't come in and put something in the office. They change the wires throughout the property as needed. I know, it seems too good to be true.
It
because
does.
It
Yeah.
really does. I can get about the first service gentleman that we are in contact with, but it's just exclusive
Do you
rights.
give discounted services that are?
I think there is a discount for residents.
Yeah, but it
that
doesn't
have it.
mention it in their agreement.
No,
as to how
but-
they set this up.
Yeah, I
So-
mean,
I tried to get in touch with these people, and Xfinity, you call them, and I was on at least 5 different phone numbers, and I gave up, I couldn't talk to anybody, I emailed this person 3 days ago, I haven't heard back from them, that's the person in charge.
So is
So-
it give you a per door fee for each door, and then the association, it's free money, I know, it's weird.
It's free money,
It's
but
free
we're giving
money.
something
It's
up.
free before.
And I was like,
Yeah.
The last time we signed that agreement,
yeah.
I had the lawyer review the contract and it was.
Yeah, but the last time I looked at it,
Yeah.
and the last time was not through FSR, it was through another independent company. I tried to get in touch with them, and they no longer exist.
Yeah, so
So
because,
I don't know why, I know this one is going through FSR, but why do we have to pay FSR 25% of that?
that's the stipulation at Comcast.
I know.
That's what I was told.
So I wanna find out if we can do it for less, with someone else.
And there's another thing you can do,
Sorry,
and I've been involved in it, when you have a community, if you give the exclusive rights here to Comcast, you can use that, and they will, what they did in the community I was in, they had basically one way in, and that was it, the provider.
yeah.
So the board, when somebody's delinquent paying their dues, can actually shut them off.
Oh, we'll look into that.
Well, I mean,
That
you've
cleaned
called,
up the arrears.
Yes,
if you've called so many times and so many different numbers and emailed somebody 3 days ago and you haven't had a response, how responsible are they?
They're not, yeah.
It's
Red
Comcast.
flag.
Done with that.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we table that.
I'd be happy to try to make some calls.
All right, so we'll
Yeah, I
table it
agree,
till
let's
next
table
meeting.
it for sure, okay.
All right.
I
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Tabled Comcast. Unanimous vote. Aye.
Any more questions?
Anything
Yes.
else? Yes, sir.
I have a question. Are we allowing commercial, ventures here?
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the hair salon in, 301.
Oh, really? Does
Yes.
anybody know about that?
Well, I know why you don't know about it, but. Nothing personal. I've been here about 4 or 5 years. This has been going on since I've come here, I've been here 4 or 5 different property managers.
What unit?
209, 301 is the hair salon. They have fixed what I understand, and I've looked in, they have fixed their garage into, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 stations. You know,
If they're using the power in that garage.
they're using the power, they're using the water.
So we're gonna
Okay,
look into
so
that.
Emily
Thank you.
said that they've already received a violation.
All right, good. Because
Prior
I
to
talked to
your
Emily,
time,
when we talked Thursday or Friday, and I
Well,
know it's not enough time to do, you know.
Right.
All
This
right, I
was
know
prior
there's
to
something in
being
our
manager,
docs that talk about.
but also they
commercial.
send them letters.
You're gonna sign
And I mean, just bought a new car and it's getting dinged up. So I wanna know who to send the bills to.
I don't know.
And
Yes.
you're on notice now, the board is on notice, so any more dings is on you.
Okay.
All right.
It's,
Wait a minute, what's he talking about?
if you're running a business from a residentially zoned area, that is a zoning issue that needs to be reported to the city of Jacksonville.
That has been done before.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know.
And it also says in our, I'm sure it says in our covenants is that there be no commercial.
All right.
You're not supposed to run a business.
Maybe we'll have.
That's correct.
There was a complaint against that particular unit years ago for running a construction business from there, yet it was determined that they had another business address. So.
Okay, well, the one that I know that was before that was what was it, the drug house. They were running drugs out of that same unit.
If you find any of those, let me know.
What do you want? I can, you know.
No.
I can go out and get you whatever you want.
All right. Anything else, Chris?
Just have you talked about, we actually talked about putting a camera in the RV lot?
Yes. In fact, with that agreement with Comcast, they provide us with another hotspot at no cost. And what I was thinking of doing is putting the hotspot at the RV location and putting an IP camera system up, which has an app that we can look at, and it'll do cloud recording. Yes, Julie. So
Is there an issue with privacy doing that? Because it's been
No,
discussed before.
I have already talked to a number of other communities that
How
have.
about the attorney?
We will check with the attorney. Yes.
Do they have any cameras to where people just drop the garbage at the dumpsters?
Yeah,
the
that's what we're gonna
beds?
try to set up. But
Okay.
you cannot use sound. You're not allowed to put a microphone. A lot of these cameras come with microphones. You're not allowed to use them. So that's not gonna get connected. But it will be, we are allowed to view what's going on our property. Now, people putting them up in their own units is a whole different story. We can't agree to that. But I think we should have them here. I think at the entrance, at the pool, and at the other pool, and at the RV location. So we'll put it together and we'll let you know about it and see how it goes.
That's good. Okay.
Yes, Jane.
Yeah, about contractors doing work on the property, I asked, I asked Emily earlier, probably last week. Massey has not sprayed behind 2103 and 2105.
Okay.
You indicated you had spoken to them, they still have not done anything. It is all weeds, has been since the day I moved in, which is why I have done my own thing, which I got permission for, is just all weeds.
So Massey's contract is up in August, and the new contract starts August 1st. So we're just gonna give them notice that we're not gonna renew. And their contract was for 6 applications, 1 every 2 months. I wanna look at the history of the payments to them and see how it came.
Well, once all the weeds are killed.
They were just here, yeah.
Right, once all the weeds are killed, then it's gonna need to be sodded, because there's nothing
Yeah.
but weeds.
We're hoping to get to sod eventually, believe me. We
Well,
wanna make
the problem is, our area tends to be forgotten because we bought.
Because it's behind it, yeah.
That's a long history.
All right. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna make a move. I'm making a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
All right.
Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. 8:07 p.m. Very long meeting.
Didn't get in your way too much, did I?
No. All good. All good. No, it's fine.
I mean, I even tried to sit low so when you hit it up.
Appreciate